everybody, welcome to another episode of Propel Virtual Garage. I'm your host Russ Titonia, coming to you from Sarasota, Florida, home of the North American Service Center. Today's PVG video we will be focusing on the Endeavor S remote. I'm going to teach you all the functions and I'm going to teach you how to pair it. This is probably I like this remote. I know a lot of people aren't big on it. I like the size of it. I like the way it shifts into reverse. There are a couple little things that I really like about it. It's one of the first remotes I learned on, so I kind of have that history with it as well. Granted, the VX2 is a much nicer remote that we do with the Endeavor Pro. We'll also be doing a video on that one. But I have a personal little thing for this remote. I like it. But anyway, we're going to show you all how to use it and all the different functions, how to pair it, where the secret menu is, and what all those things stand for, and what the values are and whatnot. And we'll get everything covered for you so you'll be able to know what you're doing right out of the box. So, without any further ado, let's get to it. Okay, so before we get into pairing, a very quick note. This is a Pro deck that is sitting on an Endeavor S. It just happens to be what I'm riding this week while I work on my Pro. Just didn't want any confusion there. Okay, so moving on. Pairing. First thing you do is you make sure everything is off. The board is off, the remote is off. Then you turn the board on with one press on the power button. Next thing you do is you hold that power button down for 5 to 7 seconds until it starts flashing. That means the board is in pairing mode. So I'm going to depress it. I'm going to hold it for 5, 6, and there we go. That means that the board is now in pairing mode because that light is flashing. Now I turn my remote on and I press these two buttons one time. You'll see my battery populates. And I'm now connected. Test it with the wheel. We're good to go. Power off. Power off. Now to walk you through some of the features of the remote, we'll probably should just start off with the most common. Well, actually, let's walk right through the screen and show you what's what. Okay, so as I mentioned before, this meter here is to show you your remote, how much battery is left in your remote. This one's showing 3 bars, and then my battery shows 4 bars, which is full. Just below that is your overall odometer. This board has 275 miles on it. Below that, the 0.0 is your trip odometer. It'll save trip and overall. You have your miles per hour. You have, when you get to the end of your trip, if you look at your remote, it says max 13 miles per hour. That's your max speed you went on that trip. Down in the bottom corner on the left, you have an FW, which means it's in forward, as opposed to an RW, which would mean reverse. And then it shows you what mode you're in. You're in Pro mode as far as your drive, and as far as your braking, you're also in Pro mode. This blinking down the right shows you that you are connected. So to turn the board on and off again, long hold, and it's off. Long hold, and it's on. Okay. You have your thumb wheel here, okay? Moving it forward makes the board go faster, and then it returns to center when you let go, no matter what. Reverse of center is braking, okay? So to move forward, and then to brake, pull back. Okay, so adjusting your ride settings. The two main adjustments are your speed and your braking. So the speed mode, you can see this one is in Pro and Pro. So to change your speed mode, which is the one on the left, you just tap the right button to scroll through. So we go to Pro, to Low, to Mid, to High, to Pro. Okay? Low is about 3 miles an hour. You can pretty much walk next to somebody and they can hold your arm for balance so they can get used to the takeoff and the braking, and just to give them a little extra confidence. Then mid brings you up to about, I think, 7 to 10, and then high has the full spectrum of the throttle. It'll go all the way to top speed, and then Pro is the same. It'll go all the way to top speed. Just do it quicker than on high, with more torque. Okay. The other parameter is the braking. Braking is very easy. It's the same thing. You just pull the brake back and tap that red button that right button to scroll through. So pull the brake back. And it goes from Pro to Low to Mid to High to Pro again. And those are your two main ride adjustments. Okay, what I'd like to do now is go over two of the features that you use in your Palm while you're riding. They both involve this left button. The first one is reverse. So you're driving along, you come to a stop, press this button twice, and the remote vibrates in your hand and switches to reverse. BW is backwards. Again, you press this button twice, and it changes to FW, which is forwards, okay? And you're good to go again. You have to come to a complete stop before it'll allow you to go in the opposite direction. That's another little note. Another function we have here is cruise control. So you get the board up and cruising, then you just press that button, and it locks in cruise control. Now you can let go of the throttle, and the board just keeps going at that speed. To disengage, just touch the throttle wheel in any direction, braking or accelerating. And that's those two features. Okay, now let's get into our secret menu a bit. The way you access the secret menu is shut the remote off, and then press both buttons simultaneously and hold them down until it turns on. And there's your hidden menu. Okay, on the S, you only have two parameters. The first one is miles per hour versus kilometers, and the way you change that is you just use your thumb wheel to scroll. That's kilometers per hour, miles per hour, kilometers per hour, miles per hour. Wheel speed, okay, this one is off. Now to scroll down to wheel speed, we just push the right button, that's how you scroll, and then we use the thumb wheel again to move it back and forth. Now for the Endeavor S, which is what we're doing now, the 8-inch wheel has a wheel speed of 80, and the 7-inch wheel has a wheel speed of 65. So I'm running this board with 8s right now, so I want to put it to 80. So I will use my thumb wheel to move that down until that's at 80. 82, 81, 80, and we're good. And to escape the secret menu, just power button off again, and turn it back on, and you're good to go. Charging is done in the bottom with your USB, your little micro connector there, USB cord, and takes roughly 20 to 30 minutes to charge, relatively quick. Always check your charge on the remote. We're so concerned with checking the charge on the board, sometimes we forget about the remote, and we ruin our trip. I should probably say me instead of we, but it's just something to be aware of, something I do too often. But luckily, I ride close to home. So I think that's about it. I think I've shown you everything, and I think that's it. So that concludes this episode of Propel Virtual Garage. I hope that was easy enough for everybody. If you have any questions, as always, fire away below. We'll answer anything you have. Any other input, if I missed anything, call me out. But if you have any questions, if you have any input, fire away below. Other than that, ride hard, ride safe, and always ride Propel.